Hello, and welcome to Adventures into the Unknown. My name is Rick, this is Katana, and in today's adventure we are in search of apachetears. Now, apachetears are basically obsidian crystal gemstones that are found in pyrrolite deposits, and it just so happens that the area we are in today, just outside of Superior, Arizona, is abundant in those materials. But before we go searching for the apachetears, back up on this rock face there appears to be some caves. They could be some old ancient ruins, so we're going to give that a look before we head off for the apachetears. Alright, so we've come to our first little cave. Looks kind of like an old ruin. Not 100%. how old this is. Let's see if we can find any clues. Alright, don't really see any clues on how old this structure might be, or if it was more of a modern day man-built structure. However, there is another structure around the corner that I think will provide some clues. So let's head over that way. Now, there is going to be probably our first clue of ancient people, and that does look like a pretty deep man-made hole, so now I'm starting to think this is more of an ancient site, so let's continue on around the corner. And actually on that same stone, here is another one of those deep man-made holes. And from that hole, if I look up above me on the overhang, there is a huge honeycomb that bees must have been working on for some time now. Alright, so now as we come around the corner, you can see the beginnings of another structure, and I actually see what appears to be a metate, or a grinding stone hole, right in the mouth of the cave where Katana's checking that out. That would appear to be a very well used and formed metate. And if we look up into the cave, you can see charring from smoke. And it looks like actually over here on this wall, there has been some mortar used to hold this wall together. Let's see if we can see any fingerprints where they actually put this mortar in. And so on some of the more ancient cliff dwellings, you will find actual fingerprints where they placed the mortar in between the rocks. I don't actually see that in this mortar. Now it does appear just outside of the structure there are a couple of petroglyphs. Again, not sure that they're actually ancient petroglyphs. However, that one is kind of interesting looking. Alright, so I think we found the two dwellings I had seen from the road down below up on this rock face. So now it's time to go search for those apachetears. So before we made it back to the main trail to where the apachetears can be found, we came across one more little structure. little side room here. And we got the main room. With a window out the back, it looks like. Or maybe that's just an escape route out the back. Again, not real sure if this was actually built by ancient people. Don't really see any signs, but since just up on the rock face, there were some definite signs, we'll just assume this was. However, these days it looks like the cows are using it as a barn. Alright, let's go find those apachetears. Alright, eventually you will come to a gate with some big boulders at it. You then have basically two choices to go down and find these apachetears. The first one would be through this trail that will lead you down into the valley to a wash at the very bottom, which is probably a lot less picked over since it is a more rigorous trail. The other option is going to follow this main trail, which will take you down to the main dig site. Today we'll take this main trail to the original dig site, and then we will actually work our way up back through the valley. Alright, as we continue on that main trail, we've come to a point where if you just look at this view, it's absolutely incredible. And had we taken the path down through the valley, we would be down there somewhere. But then we would have missed out on this incredible view. And off in the distance, you can actually see Weaver's Needle. So pretty amazing view up here. Alright, so it appears that we're now approaching the main dig site for the apachetears. Again, the spot that's of most interest to me is going to be back down in the valley where perhaps less people have gone to. But if you're going to make this hike, you might as well hit this spot as well. And be sure to watch your step and don't have a dog that drags you. This way, Katana. Alright, so we've arrived at the caves where a lot of locals will dig out the apachetears. Let's go take a look inside. As you can see, there is a chain link fence that has been there for a pretty long time. However, there is an opening that you will see as you come down the main trail. So, for those of you who are not familiar with the name apachetears for these obsidian gemstones, it basically first emerged from a legend about a group of 75 Apache warriors who were engaged in a battle with the U.S. cavalry on a mountaintop known as Picket Post Mountain in the early 1870s. As the battle ensued, it became evident to the remaining Apache warriors that they were outnumbered, and rather than being captured or killed by the U.S. cavalry, the Apache warriors leapt to their death from the mountain cliffs. Upon hearing about the tragedy, the grief-stricken wives and families of the warriors wept dark tears which fell to the ground and turned to stone. And that is where the Apache Tears name comes from. Alright, so the Apache Tears can be found in this perlite by chipping away at it, and you will eventually see little black stones. Now, if for some reason you made this trip and you didn't bring a rock hammer or anything with you, you can actually look on the ground and pick up some of the larger chunks, and right there at the tip is an Apache tear that you could actually work out of this rock. Now, if you look up at the ceiling, you will see a whole lot of little black dots, and those are going to be Apache tears in the purolite material. Now, if you look on the floor where people have been chipping away, you can actually find some of the small little Apache tears that were left behind. There's one in the perlite. Now, this is a spot a little lower on the wall where you can actually see some of the Apache tears in the perlite. And so you can kind of just chip away and you can see they'll come right out of there. Alright, so the main dig caves are back up that way, and we've come down through here. Probably not the best way to go, definitely not the easiest, but as you get down into these tailing piles, you will be able to find these Apache tears just lying all over the ground here. There's a lot of small ones, and then every once in a while you find a little bigger one. And so that's just a quick look around in this little area here, and there's a whole bunch of those Apache tears. Alright, so now we're down in the wash, and you can see the rocks down here are just packed with these Apache tears. Take a look at that specimen. Right here with these Apache tears. So, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I appreciate you coming along on this adventure with me and Katana. So until next time, remember, get out there and seek and enjoy.